years, Chris and Charles has been financing your goals, dreams, creating your great moments. Celebrate the occasion with us. Borrow $1 million to less than $25,000 monthly and get 30% off your processing fees. No guarantor needed. Call 876-920-4189 or WhatsApp 876-838-9028. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
In Jamaica, your rights are protected by our Constitution. From the right to education to freedom of expression, every citizen deserves respect and dignity. But remember, with rights come responsibilities. Let's uplift and respect each other and stand against injustice. Together, we can make Jamaica a better place for ourselves and future generations. Know your rights. Embrace your responsibilities. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
This Father's Day, escape to the Pampered Temple for ultimate relaxation. Adam and Eve Day Spa. All treatments are infused to melt your tension and remove stress. Pampered Dad with a massage, facial, body treatment, and mani-pedi. Unwind at Adam and Eve and enjoy complimentary pure country juices and a Johnny Walker. But now at www.adamandevedayspaja.com. Purchase gift certificates. Call 876-754-6017 or WhatsApp 876-567-2142 for details.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Reminds me of you.
This is to advise that on Sunday, June 8, 2025, the Mayor's Parlor will begin at 12:30 p.m. We do apologize for any inconvenience caused.
Everything loud and wicked every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. with Outside with Pepita. Lone vibes, lone laughs, and lone entertainment. Come on the road with it. Cause when we say Outside with Pepita, we're there all over Jamaica. Anyway, check them out. We're there. We're in the business. Stay tuned in for prizes, surprises, giveaways, guest artists, and enough more. But hold on there. We forget to big up my DJ. DJ Jerome the Shell Boss, I'm gonna make it bust to pew pew with the baddest, and latest tune. So look out for Outside with Pepita. We might be coming to a town near you. You heard it here first. Outside with Pepita, Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. Jamaica, lock it in and don't miss a thing. The Nationwide 90 FM Schoolyard Tour 2025 is taking the vibes island-wide, straight to your schoolyard. Stay tuned to the E-Zone and find out which school they're going to visit next. It's all about empowering minds and igniting the fun. Expect live entertainment, games, and big surprises as we bring the Nationwide 90 FM energy to every stop. And you know we are going to stream it live on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM.
FM Live 2. It's the Schoolyard Tour. Catch the live stream on Nationwide's YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. Keep your station locked to Nationwide 90 FM for more details. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. The Schoolyard Tour is brought to you by the Students' Loan Bureau, KFC, Tip Friendly Society, National Council on Drug Abuse, ATL Automotive, West Tech Limited, and Fairview Medical and Dental Center.
News time! Get ready for the exciting youth entertainment segment on the Talk Up Youth radio show. Yes, that's Bust the Youth. Listen every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Are you between the ages of 12 to 25 and have creative talents? A singer, DJ, musician, dancer, comedian, maybe the poet? Then we're looking for you. Yes, that's Bust the Youth, Saturdays at 12:30 p.m. To book your spot, send us an email at talktotur@gmail.com or send us a DM on Instagram at TalkUpYouth. You could be the next big thing. Talk Up Youth, Pacific. Talk Up Youth.
Jamaica, our young people are world leaders, innovators, and game changers. They are creative, intelligent, bold, and they are champions. My youths, you have the power to transform Jamaica. Our country needs your ideas, your opinions, your solutions, and your support. Full time now, we kick out crime and violence, rape culture, unemployment, and all of the other problems in Jamaica land we love. I'm Empress Scolding, encouraging all young people to come make we talk up, on Talk Up Radio. Go on with it, youths. Talk Up Youth. Myself a Talk Up Youth.
Education is the key for betterment in this modern time, Education is the key for betterment. Never waste your time, don't you waste your time. Bless and love. This is Warrior King. It's all about Talk Up Youth, Cause the youth them are the future. Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Keep in tune, don't move it. Rastafari. Reggae music rocking the nation. Good vibration.
New government, give thanks. Sing it. You know, every day. Realest in here in our world, brother. We give thanks. For real. You spend all that money on your watch. How much time you spend with your son? So much money in the club. How much you spend with the ones you love? The simple things are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings, your blessing. Simple things are your blessing. And you don't notice your blessings. You pick it with the shoes by your feet. Now pick and choose the friends where you eat. You now watch where you eat. When last you get a good sleep. The simple things are your blessings. Simple things are your blessing, your blessing. Simple things are your blessing. You better notice your blessing.
Simplicity we use to survive. Many find it difficult because them ignorant and I. One alone they get in, I go live another life. Telling them again but I not in a device. Life, no get chance too often. Put out some of the sadness and invest in a laughing. Time you take a stress, lifetime passing. Tell them say you love them for you see them in a coffin. Let me tell you this man. Good days, bad days, you know say you went up. Me woulda trade house and car and shed up. Just forget 1 more minute with my brother. So you get up, spend time together. Cherish every second of the day when you're there up. Gotta tell you, I had a close one yesterday. You put an angel over me.
The simple things are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings, your blessings. Simple things are your blessing. And you don't notice your blessings. The simple things are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessing, your blessing. Simple things, them are your blessing. You better notice your blessings. We've got life, so let's live. You make the time to chase the paper. When last you say a prayer. We've got life, so let's live. And while you're worshiping your treasure, remember nothing lasts forever. The simple things are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings, your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings. You better notice your blessings. The simple things, them are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings, your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings. You better notice your blessings. Simple things, oh the simple things. Health and strength, oh the simple things. Let me tell you about the simple things.
representing for Talk Up Radio, a Talk Up Youth production held every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Talk Up Youth, myself, Talk Up Youth.
Me pray every time I feel can't do no different. Swear me have a win, that's why I'ma try again. Pray every time I feel, cause God always a listen. One day I have to win, that's why I'ma try again. See me working hard while I'm still struggling. Minimum wage can't cover my bills. Somebody tell me how I'm gonna live. They might complain, but I'm not giving. I'll do it now, sure. Only me and God know how my day go. Oh, me have to make a bad drive out of town. I'm free, I'm one forgot the place and yes, me, Tanisha first starter. When me just start, me used to hear their laughter. But you me know say a time are the master. And everything I say I'm going do me, I go after. You see the free, that's why every day my OD. Just I get a girl from the east with a dream. I shoot for the top and me go bring you whole team. Every time I feel, can't do no different. Swear we have a way, that's why we try. Every time I feel, cause God always a listen. There I have to say, that's why we try again. Nowadays me just want balance my mental, you know. Must stop tell myself some I don't good enough. I know like say I just know life I rough. Me for keep on pushing and don't ease up. But even when I try stay out the way, crosses them won't see my break. Them not gonna live for see the day. Yo, I've been through enough, so please follow me. Can't turn to nobody when me get hungry. The blessings alone me wants around me. That's why me pray every time I feel can't do no different. One day I have to win, that's why I'ma try again. Pray every time I feel can't do no different. Swear my heart for win, that's why I'ma try again. Shoot as it will be. We have to try again, and we have to win, win, win. We have to try again, and we have to win, win, win. East side of a win, them can't stop a thing. Yeah, came up massive. Yeah, twinkle.
Jamaica.
And so we come to know these youths and show these youths. Talk up yourself, the youths to know them roots. Nurture them, protect and love and hear these youths. Use to make them know I love we show these youths.
Save the youth, kill the youth, I build we come to build the youth. Stop trick and fool and kill the youth, I build we come to build the youth. Empower and then skill the youth, I build we come to build the youth. Youth in action, Jamaica, we are
build the youths there.
I come youth in Jamaica.
I've been praying for a break, praying for a way to get through. All I wanna do, all I wanna do, yeah. All I wanna do is, all I wanna do is live a little, breathe a little, and want it, child. Cause every month make a big, but I watch it trick, cause things so hard. All I wanna do is live a little, breathe a little, and want it, child. Cause every month make a big, but I watch it trick, cause things so hard. It's the pleasures and pressures of life we look down to, so try your best to make time for.
Good morning, Jamaica, and welcome to another edition of the Talk Up Youth Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth, right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the best revolution station in Jamaica, and like I always say, across the world. You are listening to the voice of Damon Scarlett today, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Stephen, I tell you, it's not going to be too long before you hear me again.
That's right. It's becoming I don't want to say, Stephen,
you're not a recurring decimal, right? But it's becoming very nice to have you back in the studio. And we know
Find your roots sometimes, man.
that is true. I know how some are going. The kids are all over the place, who not overseas and so on. So you know that we have to bring in back the veterans.
At least you didn't say old.
No. We are as young as our minds tell us that we are.
And the color of your hair too.
That's right. But today we're going to be having a great conversation, and of all things being well, could be a series as we start off today. What's our focus? But before we get into that, how was your week?
My week was good in parts and bad in others. The dust and the heat, mighty God of Daniel. Yes. But aside from that, it's been a good week. How about you?
Very eventful. Let's put it that way. But meaningful though. Eventful but meaningful. And as we get older, we just have to learn how to juggle life. I keep on saying that if it's not in my calendar, we did not have the conversation. Right?
Sounding like a true veteran.
Right. So, but it was a good week, and in preparation for today as well, I'm excited to just to learn about what we're going to be talking about. The topic is not new to us, but it's always good to bring more context to it, especially in the light of young people.
Yep.
Right. So,
and given where we're heading as a country and things that are on the horizon for us.
Right, so let's not keep them in suspense any longer. What's our focus
fair. So this morning we're going to be focusing on one of the most pressing issues of our time. We're going to be talking about reparations.
Yes.
Specifically, we're going to be looking at the Repair Campaign, which is a social movement and non-profit organization dedicated to raising awareness and building solidarity for the Caribbean reparations movement. Now, for centuries, the Caribbean has suffered some of the greatest crimes against humanity, from colonization to chattel slavery. And while independence was gained, the legacies of this harm continue to impact the region today. So that's why the Repair Campaign is calling on the United Kingdom and other European countries to, one, apologize for historic crimes and to commit to long-term reparatory justice. So we're going to be talking about a lot of that and who the Repair Campaign is and what they're doing today.
Right, love that. And so in the first half of our show, we'll be joined by it's Brian Royce. That's how you pronounce the name, right? Want to make sure I get it right. Campaign manager of the Repair Campaign here in Jamaica. And we'll be joined as well by Ms. Sharon Roper, who is a part of the team.
She's one of the reparations advocates. Yeah.
Right, one of the advocates. And we're going to be listening into what they have been doing. And because, as Stevie mentioned, this conversation, one of the pressing issues, and reparations aren't just about individual monetary compensation, but, as we talk about investment in the country. We know this is something even we hear Mr. Stephen Golden, always talking about, president of the UNIA. So it's investment in education, healthcare, cultural rehabilitation, and more. So just stick and stay with us, join us for that conversation. And this is part one this week, and then we'll come back to wrap that up. And then later in the afternoon, we'll be bringing you highlights of the third staging of the Strike Star Entertainment Screenwriters Workshop. Of course, Talk Up It is a part of that. And we were on location and had exclusive interviews with CEO Ricky Lee, and as well as American producer and writer Benny Boom, who's also known for a lot of music videos that we watch ever so often, Marvin Peart, and many others. So stick and stay with us for that. And if you are able to hop on the YouTube live later on, you want to see those behind the scenes, so you don't want to miss that. So we're going to be here until 1 p.m. and we're holding down the fort today. So listen to us at the Talk Compute Radio Show here or online at nationwideradiojm.com. I want to say good morning to our YouTubers as well, and you can hop on the Nationwide Radio Live too, right? So that you can see us, watch us, listen to us, and all that nice jazz. So this is the Talk Up Youth Radio Show, a youth-led Talk Up Youth production. Stay tuned for more. Talk Up Youth, Musefe.
Talk Up Youth.
We soon come.
shops at Creative Building Finishes? You, the homeowner who creates luxurious spaces with our floor and wall tiles. The contractor and builder who are convinced that our ceramic tiles are right for the job. The architect and designer who make dreams come true with our wood look and porcelain tiles. Superior customer service, knowledgeable staff, inviting showroom, and you get where this is going, right? Shop 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get Creative Building Finishes.
Exciting news! The Design Studio Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Upgrade your home or business with Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Explore a range of termite-resistant plywood, quartz, solid surface, and granite. Experience timeless elegance with our cedar doors, crafted from premium cedar stock, kiln-dried for durability and beauty. For quality and craftsmanship, visit us at the Trade Center Kingston 10 or Hatfield, Mandeville. Call 876-963-062-830. Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Transform your space today.
Need to make a change to your title or need a title? Geoland Title Limited. They do lost title application, add and remove names from titles, wills, estates. First-time registration land surveys also included. Affordable rates and flexible payment options. NLA adjudication and land titling waivers also available. They have 8 locations island-wide. Call 876-754-6436 or visit their website at geolandonline.com. Geoland Title Limited. Secure your land, secure your title.
Korean solid surface, so versatile and beautiful. It's non-porous, no sealing necessary, renewable and repairable, so easy to clean and maintain, and can be thermoformed into any shape. Choose Korean, the #1 solid surface in the world, when you want beauty and the best for your countertop. Visit Home International Limited, located at 104 Constance Ring Road. Telephone 755-1970 or 276-6448.
Right now, now is the time. Youth for chatter, youth for act, youth for unite right now. No silence, youth. You have to stand for your rights now. Now is the time.
Tell the people. Naya Bengi, Bobo Shanti. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, oh, oh. Hey, listen, the blood of African kings run in my vein. Here in Jamaica, rebellious offspring. We've got a warrior spirit inside. From that time we can't change. And this a warrior spirit inside. It come for break every shackle and chain. Mana Shaka Zulu, Dinde, Nkuma, Dinde, Kunta Kinte, Dinde. Just like Malcolm and Martin and Marcus and Fire.
Welcome back to the Talk Up Youth radio show, the voice of the Jamaican youth, and you're listening to us live on the best revolution station, Nationwide 90 FM. Now, today we're going to be talking about a particularly interesting topic, as we said earlier. We're going to be talking about reparations, what does that mean, and the implications that it has for us here in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean, and we're going to be talking to some representatives from the Repair Campaign. Now, the Repair Campaign, just for a little context, is a social movement and a not-for-profit organization dedicated to raising awareness and building solidarity for the Caribbean reparations movement, guided by the leadership of the CARICOM Reparations Commission. We're joined in studio today by Brian Royce, who is the campaign manager for the Repair Campaign, and we're joined on telephone by Sharon Roper, who is one of the repair advocates on the Repair Campaign. Sharon, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
All right, and
Lovely
Brian?
to be here.
I'm doing great. It's an honor to be here.
All right, wonderful. So, give us a little bit of context for what we're talking about. What is this whole history of reparations and all of that?
Yeah, in order to understand what reparations means, we have to understand the history that took us to this present moment in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of us grew up in Jamaica. You go to school, you learn about, what is slavery. We had this thing called slavery. But then the education stops short because it doesn't actually teach us, first of all, the depths of depravity that slavery actually took us through.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, the ways that the legacies and the ongoing effects of this colonial project have continued to seep into our present day realities. And so reparations in its simplest explanation is making amends or repairing the harm done previously. And in this case, in Jamaica and even the wider Caribbean, because our struggles are interconnected, is understanding that the harm that was done was actually a crime against humanity, a genocidal act of brutality that we're still feeling the effects of. And so we're calling on the UK and we're calling on other European institutions that benefited from this colonial project to make amends and to commit to reparations, meaning repairing this harm. We're not just talking about run me my check, right? We're talking about how can we implement systemic change to address the areas that we still feel it in education, in health. The list goes on, and we can get into more structured conversations around those through the 10-point plan, which we'll get to in a sec.
All right.
Yeah, well, thanks for laying that framework. That's one of the things that has come to mind, and then maybe Sharon can take this one. In the context of young people, why should they be concerned about this whole matter of reparations?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sharon, would you like to answer that one?
Okay, yeah, no, I can. The volume is a little bit low for me here, so you can address that. I'm not sure if you're hearing me okay.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Loud and clear.
Okay, lovely. Okay. Yes, no, for the context of young people, I mean, the whole discussion around reparations, as Brian said, is very much about repair. And what we don't appreciate sometimes is the generational impact of the history that we've had. And sometimes we are in a situation we don't understand why our economy is the way it is, why we have so much debt as a Caribbean state. And it really is down to the legacy of the slave trade and then subsequently the colonization period, where we were not set up to be a productive society. And as a result, we have some of the highest migration of our young people to other societies to build their economies. So why it's relevant for young people today is that really by understanding some of that legacy and understanding the systems and the policies that are in place, they can help make changes that will create economies and sustainable differences for them to be able to stay in their homeland. I mean, the big thing we talk to a lot of young people is that they've had to go overseas and work on build a career because you can't have the lifestyle you want if you stayed in, be it Jamaica or Barbados or Trinidad or any of the Caribbean islands. So it's something that if we, like Brian said, if we understood more, if our history was taught to the full extent and not just the glossed over version, I call it, maybe we can make more of a change as young people as we want to shape the future.
So then, if I'm understanding you clearly, it's about making the connections between what has happened to our present day realities.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and when we can't do, and when people dismiss reparations, why we want the repair campaigns on a mission to help with the education is oftentimes the dismissal is the emotional trauma
Yes.
Of having been told you're a descendant of slaves, and everything about that was negative, and you don't want to be associated with that. And a common statement is, oh, just forget it and move on. Yeah. And if we look at other communities that were put through genocidal treatment that damaged them, they have reparations, and they're not forgotten. And their young people are thriving. We look at the Holocaust that happened. Germany had to pay reparations. Yeah, so it's not something that's dismissed, but I think it's down to a lack of education about it, because it's still impacting us every day in here in Jamaica and across the Caribbean.
All right. So, from my understanding of the work of the Repair Campaign, it's that there are some objectives that you have, and there are two primary objectives that the Repair Campaign has. So, could either of you
Yeah,
talk about
I
that?
can speak to that for sure. So, Sharon touched on the first objective, which is raising awareness. We are on a mission to get 100,000 people across Jamaica, across the Caribbean and the diaspora, the UK, right, saying, we believe that reparations should happen, therefore we have signed in solidarity with the calls for reparations. And in so doing, our goal is to educate, it's to raise awareness about why this matters, what reparations means, and how young people like us in this room can make a difference by actually signing in solidarity and supporting the present day movement, because not many people know, first of all, not many people know what reparations means, but even fewer or even less so, even fewer people know that there is a present day movement for reparations that is happening at the grassroots level, that these conversations have been championed by Rastafari organizations for decades now, right? And at the grassroots level, these calls have existed. But also at the international level, the call for reparation has been adopted by the UN, has been adopted by the leaders of every CARICOM country. And there is a movement taking place where the CARICOM Reparations Commission is seeking to eventually open a conversation with former European powers that used to be, to say, we demand you, we demand an acknowledgement and a response for the demand for reparations in some way, shape, or form. And so we need to be ready. We need to be educated. We need to be prepared for when that does happen, which is why we're doing this educational campaign, Sign in Solidarity to support reparations.
Right, so that's the first of two objectives.
That's the first arm of the Repair Campaign, yes. The second arm, very briefly, is that we believe that when reparations does come, to support the delivery of reparations, we have worked with researchers from the University of the West Indies, the Sir Arthur Lewis Center for Socioeconomic Studies, to do community consultations with civil society, to ask them and to listen and say, what areas within your lived experience are in need of repair, so that when reparations does come, we have put together country-specific, we're calling them socioeconomic reparatory justice plans, which outline tangible ways that reparations payments can implement, can bring benefit to these communities at a structural level to reach the most benefit for the most people at a country-specific level. To kind of do away with this assumption that reparations means, throw X amount of trillions into the air. Like, how is it managed? How is that going to affect me? We're trying to make that tangible and practical in consultation with civil society and reparations leaders.
And I think in the context of how we've come to be demanding reparations, that's important, because it's no longer, it isn't a system where the person who has perpetrated the harm gets to determine how they fix it. It's the people whose lived experiences are directly impacted. I love that piece about it.
It has to be consultation driven by the descendants of the affected.
Right. Before, I think Sharon's coming in there, but one of the things I realize is that as you talk about the funding, is not necessarily that we're saying that funds must be paid directly over to government, but more in an independent kind of fund. You want to talk about that a little?
Yeah, that's right. Without getting too much into the specifics, because this part of the conversation hasn't quite been fully fleshed out yet. But from all conversations that we have had with stakeholders and civil society, the sentiment is that this cannot be something that is appropriated by governments or others with alternative motives, but needs to have protective guardrails and be independently managed by people who know what they're doing. But without getting too much into the monetary compensation, I think it's equally important we talk about the other aspects that need to be repaired through education, through healthcare, technology, psychological rehabilitation. And the 10-point plan by CARICOM really spells that out.
Go ahead, I'm Sharon. I think you're coming.
No, I was just agreeing with Brian. And it was the point I was going to make when I first thing is that Brian's point just now is spot on. So what's our responsibility as citizens in the Caribbean and young people within our countries is to really petition our policymakers and our governments locally. Right. We get distracted by reparations being very focused on the monetary compensation, and that's an important part of it. But if you understand the 10-point plan that CARICOM developed, it really is a lot more than that.
Right.
And we spoke about the psychological legacy. Yeah, and there's more we can do as a self-determining people to help address that. So one of the things we call for as well is young people go petition your local MPs and policymakers to look at the education system and the curriculum, the content of the curriculum, look at some of the systems that we have, how we address violence in our community, how we address healthcare and how we prioritize healthcare. There are things as societies that we can do now, self-determining how we move forward, and we just have to have that control. But I think one of the things we're asking for is young people get up, understand what the 10-point plan is helping you to frame, and go talk to your local MPs,
representatives,
say that we can do more.
So we're going to hold the conversation right there. We're going to come back from a break and pick it up on that point of the 10-point plan. But we have to take a break right now. So you're listening to the Talk Up Youth Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth, and we're talking to representatives from the Repair Campaign about what that means and the implications it has for us. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Talk Up Youth, Mr. F.
Talk Up Youth, Sunko.
Jamaica. Your rights are protected by our Constitution. From the right to education to freedom of expression, every citizen deserves respect and dignity. But remember, with rights come responsibilities. Let's uplift and respect each other and stand against injustice. Together, we can make Jamaica a better place for ourselves and future generations. Know your rights. Embrace your responsibilities. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Are you ready for something mega? Spend $6,500 or more before GCT. Drop your entry in the box and you can win a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. It's the Mega Wheels Tour promotion. April 5th to September 28th. Second prize, a $50,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Third prize, a $30,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Brought to you by Hyundai, Redstone, Heineken, True Milk, Grace, Walker's Wood, Downing, CPJ Daiquiri, and Carriages. Choose Concentrate. Only at Megamart. Locations island-wide. Megamart. Best value by far. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
This Father's Day, escape to the Pampered Temple for ultimate relaxation. Adam and Eve Day Spa. All treatments are infused to melt your tension and remove stress. Pampered Dad with a massage, facial, body treatment, and mani-pedi. Unwind at Adam and Eve and enjoy complimentary Pure Country juices and a Johnny Walker. But now at www.adamandevedayspaja.com. Purchase gift certificates. Call 876-754-6017 or WhatsApp 876-567-2142 for details.
Upgrade your home or business with Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Explore a range of termite-resistant plywood, quartz, solid surface, and granite. Experience timeless elegance with our cedar doors, crafted from premium cedar stock, kiln-dried for durability and beauty. For quality and craftsmanship, visit us at the Trade Center Kingston 10 or Hatfield Mandeville. Call 876-963-0628-30. Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Transform your space today.
Yeah, man, you don't know. This is Naomi Cowan representing for Talk Up Youth. This on every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Talk Up Youth. Me say Talk Up Youth. Yeah, you have to stand for your rights now. Now is the time. Tell the people.
Are you ready? 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 Are you ready?
When the roll is called out, I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of times. We'll be taking care of all the children thereof. But if it's required, we'll be on the front line. You can call me by my name. I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. Lioness is on the rise, don't you ever have down. Never say never, willingness forever to fight and be strong. Once it's for better, I'll write every letter and moving right along. And I'll roll with the punches, accept changes, work with the formula, do what I have to do, and call me by my name. I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never back out. Lioness is on the rise, don't you ever have done.
Welcome back to the Talk Up Youth Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth here on Nationwide 90 FM, the best revolution station. We are talking to Brian Royce, who is the campaign manager for the Repair Campaign, and Sharon Roper, who is one of the Repair advocates. And we before we went to the break, we were at a very interesting point in the discussion. Yeah. We were talking about this issue of the 10-point CARICOM reparations plan, is it? The 10-point reparation plan for the Caribbean. Let me say it that way. So, Sharon, Brian, talk to us about what's in there, because
the framework.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in 2014, CARICOM had launched this 10-point plan for reparatory justice, which outlines 10 bullet points, which speak to the areas that are in need of repair that were affected by the legacy of chattel slavery and colonialism. And you can check it out on their website. That's CARICOM, the CARICOM website.
CARICOMreparations.org.
Exactly. And I can briefly give a rundown of what it includes. So it includes a full formal apology for the wrongs of chattel slavery. It includes a call for repatriation for those who want to be repatriated and resettled in Africa, go back to the motherland. It includes a call for development for indigenous peoples programs, because oftentimes we forget that chattel slavery that colonialism was a genocidal act that impacted indigenous peoples. A call for cultural rehabilitation, assistance with remedying the public health crisis, assistance with educational systems, African knowledge programs, psychological rehabilitation, technology transfer, and debt cancellation and monetary compensation. So they essentially are frameworks to say when reparations becomes payable, when we get actual reparations from the former colonial countries and organizations, here are some frameworks, some areas that money can benefit on a structural level.
Oh, okay.
Of society.
And to give a bit of context as to why it is we're claiming these things, from the CARICOM Reparations Org website, it's saying that the Caribbean Reparations Commission asserts that European governments were owners and traders of enslaved Africans and instructed genocidal actions. They created legal and financial and fiscal policies necessary for the enslavement of African peoples. They defined and enforced African enslavement and native genocide as a part of their European national interests. There's a refusal of compensation to the enslaved, where the the ending of their enslavement, and there's a lot of other reasons why reparations becomes necessary, and why the 10-point plan is fleshed out in this way. So if I'm understanding it correct, then you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's that the 10 points of the plan address all the reasons why we're saying that reparations is due, and it is due here and now.
In addition to the reasons why it is due, it says here it's more of a how. It goes beyond why this is important, but also says how can reparations be delivered. As a matter of fact, the CARICOM Reparations Commission is actively involved at this very moment in reviewing and republishing an updated version of the 10-point plan that speaks to other areas that need to be accounted for in terms of the ways that this history continues to impact us, and how that informs our call for what we need to see repaired. So I can't speak yet to what is in the new 10-point plan, but that could be a part 2 conversation, because that's coming up very soon.
All right. So no, go ahead. Okay. So in terms of what reparations means, we've had that sort of discussion, but then how can people get involved in this work of demanding the reparations? So we've heard about the Sign in Solidarity campaign that's happening. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The question is, how can people get involved? I think we've answered, or we've begun to answer the why this is important, but how people can get involved. The Repair Campaign is building out an organized approach through our network of reparation advocates across the CARICOM region who are coming together in a unified way to say, we stand with the CARICOM Reparations Commission in their call for repair for these historical injustices. And we are asking everyone that we come across in our communities, in our churches, in our, just conversations in daily life, to ask people to, number one, sign in solidarity. Wouldn't it be amazing if when we go to Europe, we can say we actually have 1 million people from the Caribbean who say this is an undeniable request, right? So we are mobilizing, for lack of a better analogy, the boots on the ground. Where are the people in support of reparations? And we need to be able to quantify that. So that's how we're asking people to sign in. That's why we're asking people to sign in solidarity, and you can do so at repaircampaign.org/sign. And you can keep up with the movement actively at Repair Campaign on Instagram, TikTok, all of the social media platforms that you know and love.
Right, and I'm assuming that there are links out to the sign in solidarity from the socials.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And then,
can I just add to that as well in terms of what everyday people can do? So Brian described the advocate network that we're building, and everyday people are, volunteering to say, I can do something in my small corner, and they can join it. But everybody can take a decision to go learn about the impact of the history and how it's impacting us today, not only from the CARICOM website, but from the Repair Campaign website, is a wealth of information. It really is tremendous in terms of the history, the information, the impact, understanding how the British compensated their own people at the end of slavery and said, no, there's no compensation for the people who are actually giving up their labor for free and being brutalized. So information like that, I think, we all can go read up and find out about it and then tell our network, so you can then have conversations. The Talk Up Yout radio station, you can have a little reparations corner once a month where you have people phone in and ask questions and cover the topic. But, talking to church groups, talking to your social groups, just to really spread the education, because really education is really going to make people understand why it's relevant. We're not in the position we are in terms of our economy by accident. Yeah. And so we're not helpless in how we're going to change that. That's really what the message is around why we need to repair. And repair means that we make good and we can move forward. Yeah. So I think that's something that everybody can do in some small way.
I agreed. I just wanted to just add to that, as you mentioned, how we break it down. I mean, Talk Up Yout has been involved on the front line with that. Even groups like Wake Up Jamaica, we've done partnerships with them. We've gone so far into a couple of high schools in terms of just helping them to understand why we're talking about reparation and what it looks like on the ground. Because for the regular for the normal Jamaicans, right? They need to understand why is it that we are talking about reparations. Because if they don't get the why, then as much as we're having all of these conversations on air, we need to show them, right, how now we break that out. So I guess where that comes in, where the Caribbean 10-point plan, how you look at it now, make it personal.
Yeah.
This is relating to education. This is related to public healthcare. How can now young people use the creative element now to showcase that and break that down into the layman terms? You know, what if a young person is now able to take the money that we get or that we're asking for,
or the systems that
have been set up, or new systems that we need to implement? You know, so that is why we need to have this kind of conversation. Yes, Sharon, you're saying?
No, just absolutely. You just nail on the head. All the new systems that we need to put in place.
Yes.
So I think that's a good point.
Right. And then, in terms of knowledge, one of the interesting facts that I found out about reparations and how. One of the interesting facts I found out is we often talk about the fact that the enslaved peoples and their ancestors have not been materially compensated for what has happened. But then I think the UK, as far as recently rather as 2021, was paying reparations to the families of
2015,
people
2015,
2015, thank you for the correction.
Paying off the loan,
right. And so if it is that there are economic implications for those people who were owners of enslaved Africans, what is there to be said about the people who were enslaved and the ancestors of those people?
Isn't that just one of the biggest injustices you've ever heard? Right. Like, when I learned that fact, it really activated something.
And there are a lot of people who don't know that fact.
In fact, we did some research and quantified that. What's it here? We have it here that 33% of people within Jamaica and Barbados, when we did a survey, were actually unaware of that history, and that just says that we need more information, education around this.
Yeah, you know, I'm not looking at something that someone just shared in terms of like who exactly is supposed to receive the reparations, and two, how do you put a dollar value on it?
Yeah, how do you put a dollar value on it is a very difficult question that people have attempted to grapple with. And I think from our perspective, we're not quite there yet in terms of putting a dollar value on this, because I don't think any dollar value will truly capture the depths of atrocity and the depths of suffering that were inflicted. When you consider that 12.5 million human lives were uprooted and trafficked across to the Americas, right, and endured some of the most, if not the most brutal, intentional oppression in human history. You can't quantify that with a dollar value. You just can't. There have been efforts to do so, but in my personal opinion, I think that those conversations can kind of detract from the conversation, which is, instead of leading with how much money do you owe me, we need to lead with the fact that this was a wrong. Right. Can we start there? Because so far we haven't even gotten that apology from the UK.
And I think that that's how some European countries and entities in some of those countries try to weasel their way out of the reparations argument, saying, "Oh, you can't quote you can't quote a monetary figure. So how do you expect us to pay the reparations?" But then you have to look at the things that have happened. For example, there's this, again, another little factoid about how when the ships used to come across the Atlantic, there were sharks who learned to trail those ships, and because the slave owners used to throw bodies overboard. And so those sharks learned that this is a route to food, and that now has upset our ecosystems in the Caribbean. So it's not about placing a monetary value on these things, but looking at how can you repair the systems that you have harmed. And sometimes it's not the monetary value.
Yeah. If I can just say briefly as well that that's one of the rationales behind why the repair campaign, under the leadership of the CARICOM Reparations Commission and those leaders, have undertaken this research to identify projects that can be scoped and costed, to say, instead of quantifying the value of lives lost, can we quantify what it would cost to repair on a structural level the education? What would it cost if every CARICOM country received X number of new schools highly equipped with technology? What would it cost if we revamped our healthcare system? Right. And taking that approach to quantifying the call for repair is something that the repair campaign is actively undergoing right now with a team of experts.
Right.
And Brian, to that point though, and the reason why that type of analysis and solution is the right way to think is, if you think about it, we as the Caribbean contributed to the funding of the Industrial Revolution in Europe at a time when we were denied such economic and industrial revolution in our own economies, which is hence why we're in the position we're in today. So I think there is a way to quantify it, and I'm looking at what projects need to be funded to get to that space, and that technology transfer back into our system is a way. That's the conversation we should be having. It's less about what is that number. It's about what do we need to get done to repair that. Because we often don't realize that they were extracting raw value. They were, it's free. It was free labor. The best. I mean, as far as they were concerned, it was a deliberate system to maximize their profits that they could make, to invest in their economies and their industrial revolution. So it's time now that we got back payment so that we can do the same for our economies. So really that's the end goal for our people, so we can have that sustainable. I always talk about the sustainable future because it's a sad shame that so many of our young people have to migrate for a better life. It's, it doesn't, they don't want to go, and they leave behind a deficit in the country that they live in as well.
And that there is even one of the ways how the countries who perpetrated the issues that we're seeking repair from continue to benefit from the systems in present day.
Yeah. So ironic, isn't that? Yeah, and they continue to benefit from the system. Yeah.
Right. I just wanted to go back a little bit to one of the points in the 10-point plan, looking at number 6, illiteracy education. I know for us, there are a number of youth advocates here in Jamaica and youth groups that are advocating more for, the whole matter of, financial literacy and so on. And in my mind, in the context of even slavery, a number of enslaved Africans would have felt as if, that, being belittled, not being able to have that kind of knowledge, and the fact that, their leaders, what do you say? Not white supremacy is the term I'm looking for, but they're taskmasters. Then, in a sense, why is it though that we need to promote more of this in terms of asking for the literacy amongst our people?
Ooh, that's a huge one, and I would just love to hit you with a quick not so fun fact. People are like, here's a fun fact. This is a not so fun fact. Did you know that at independence, Jamaica was left with how many schools do you think there were at independence? I don't know. Frame it as a question. Take a guess.
10.
At independence, Jamaica was left with 3 schools and 31 prisons. Now, what picture does that tell you in terms of the intentional way that the country was established, and even more so that Professor Beckles, Sir Hilary Beckles, speaks about the fact that illiteracy was at 60%. The country was 60% illiterate when we gained independence. What are we going to do with people who can't? How do we reasonably develop a country with 60%? And all things considered, we have done a fabulous job. Like Jamaica, big up yourself, because but that speaks to the fact that there was intentional suppression of literacy, of education, and that is in dire need of being repaired. And it's not only the access to these educational systems, but, and I know Sharon is going to want to jump in on this one too, but the content of our education systems was never set up to educate a Caribbean, an Afro-descended Caribbean psyche, right? It was never intended to reflect the type of education that would create a well-rounded Afro-Caribbean person who scores high on those psychological metrics of Black consciousness, for example, right? Where is the pride in our people, and how does our education system distill that and present that to our young people from an early age, so that they grow up as well-rounded citizens with a good sense of who they are in the world?
Yeah. But it's worse than that. It's actually worse than that, because the system that you described that we need to repair was actually it was actually designed to separate us. So you see, in terms of the way we don't directly fly between the Caribbean and Africa, that's deliberate. It's difficult to fly and trade across other Caribbean countries. That was deliberate. And this education system that taught us that we're not connected to our ancestors is deliberate. If you think about it, every other nation, no matter how many countries the Italian or the Spanish travel to, they're still Italian and Spanish, and they can quote history back to the 5th century and so forth. We haven't got that empowerment. So I think what the education, as you speak to the content of what is taught, is really, and the 10-point plan speaks to this as well, is the connection back to our African ancestry. Yeah. And if we understood that, you're from a descendant of people that were the first people to create a university in the world. You're the first people to create most of the technologies that we're now seeing in the world. You were the first people to create currency. We're from the first people to do many of the things that we take that we actually don't appreciate we're part of. Yeah. That fact alone is very empowering for a young girl or boy in school who thinks that they're just on the edge of society and there's no hope for them. So the content, the skew of how much of that content is taught in school. And you'll see in other societies, they're taught their history and they're taught the power of their history and the strengths they had deliberately to give them that empowerment so they can stand with their head high. And we are not being given that. Yeah, we start our history from the fact that we were descendants of slaves.
Yep.
Like I remember being taught the first time I had Black history was a ship with the slaves lying like sardines. Yep. And I had to go seek out the fact that, okay, I'm from Africans. What does that mean? It's a powerful history that we're part of, our ancestors. So I think that content is supreme, and I love the fact that it's in the 10-point plan, as well as the system of education as well. Because it's the two slightly different things, but they're both necessary.
I'm listening to you, Sharon, and I literally have goosebumps because there's this thing that people always talk about, our broken education system, and I always have to correct people to tell them that the system isn't broken, it's functioning exactly as it was designed. And so as we're talking and having this conversation, it's about how do we fix these systems, how do we create new systems, as we said earlier. But we are unfortunately out of time for this segment, this part of the conversation. And so we're going to have to pick up at another time. We want to say thank you so much. We want to say thank you so much, Sharon and Brian, for joining us today and for talking to us about the repair campaign. And for people who are listening and want to get involved, you have the Sign in Solidarity campaign that's running right now, and you can get to that by going to repaircampaign.org/sign, as well as you can reach out to them through the socials to talk about how you can join the movement and be one of the people who are at the forefront of this thing. You're listening to the Talk Up Youth Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth on Nationwide 90 FM. We are going to take a break right now. Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth.
We'll be right back.
An account with the Insurance Employees Cooperative Credit Union today and enjoy attractive savings products and affordable loans with low rates and minimal fees. Membership is open to employees and clients of insurance companies, building societies, and financial service entities. Visit ieccu.com or call 876-906-5362 in Kingston or 876-979-6516 in Montego Bay. The Insurance Employees Cooperative Credit Union, a union of possibilities.
Outperform, outlast. We top performance. Jackama. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, free parts and free repairs. Free parts, free repairs. In 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61124. Delta Supply, we service what we sell. Outperform, outlast.
Who shops at Creative Building Finishes? You, the homeowner who creates luxurious spaces with our floor and wall tiles. The contractor and builder who are convinced that our ceramic tiles are right for the job. The architect and designer who make dreams come true with our wood look and porcelain tiles. Superior customer service, knowledgeable staff, inviting showroom, and you get where this is going, right? Shop 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get Creative Building Finishes.
Nationwide 90 FM wants to help you find your home sweet home with all things real estate. A 15-minute program during Nationwide this morning, every Wednesday at 8:35 a.m. All Things Real Estate gives you expert advice on how to navigate the process of owning any real estate, from residential and commercial to industrial or even vacant real estate. We'll guide you through every square foot of information. Now, let's turn that for sale into sold with All Things Real Estate every Wednesday at 8:35
8:35 a.m. on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
All Things Real Estate is brought to you by Law Boss Attorneys at Law.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we celebrate Fathers on June 13 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. The Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, in association with the Bureau of Gender Affairs, will celebrate Father's Day 2025 under the theme, The Power of Presence. Fathers who make a difference. #Daddy is home. Activities begin with a spa day on June 11 at the Ministry's roof terrace with outstanding Fathers Award recipients and Ministry staff members who are fathers receiving pampering, refreshments, and games under the theme Caring for the Caring Dad. The grand celebration is set for June 13 with the Outstanding Fathers Award ceremony where 60 exemplary fathers will be honored at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online June 13 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Exciting news! The design studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Design. You better stop, drop, and listen up.
For all your fire loss prevention and industrial safety needs, go to National Safety Limited. They design, install, supply, and service fire alarm and suppression systems and fire extinguishers.
They also sell PPEs, that's personal protective equipment to keep you safe on the job. Plus, they're your source for Timberland safety shoes.
Visit their website at nationalsafety.com.jm and follow them on social at National Safety Limited to find out more.
National Safety Limited. Your safety is our concern.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Is this real? Hey Greg, come look at this. Oh my, it's happening. Mr. Daniels, the numbers keep getting bigger and bigger.
Sir, the clicks are off the charts.
Hello, sales? What's the emergency? 9,000 clicks in one day? 3,000 order? So how much you have left? What? I'll soon call you back. Mr. Nakamoto, it's Danny from Jamaica. I need 5,000 of the big ones. We're back in business.
Yes, sir. Amplify your brand. Let Nationwide 90 FM assist you in tapping into a captivated audience across our social media platforms. For more information, contact us at 876-630-1210 or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Businesses, companies, and entrepreneurs, let's supercharge your brand.
Nikisha Barnes representing for Talk Up Radio, a Talk Up Youth production held. This is Nikisha Barnes representing for Talk Up Radio, a Talk Up Youth production held every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Talk Up Youth, myself, Talk Up Youth.
Talk Up Youth and talk the truth. I ask the bush that representing for Talk Up Youths here and nationwide, 90 FM, every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Bush.
I don't business with them, bro. One with life with pens, love. At least for me, I go get the fence round. Drop a candy in the panic, makes sense down. If for eyeglass to drink our ends out. I put a truck on the road and point out. Broke to the beggar, so me spend down. It's a good when the bush lads step down. I sit over eyeglass and free. True contribution to NHD. So me can qualify for the loan. Use that money and purchase a home. My plan surpass A, B, and C. My granny old shop turn Airbnb. Foundations, grandbabies can feel. Spend money while I sleep. Let me show you how I do it. Me go build a phone. I still have one some gold. Yeah. She go take a load out. To put a vaccine on the road out. Me sell me a hope. Yeah. Big man me supposed to. Yeah. So can't do me left alone, bro. Roll up the drugs, road down. See them play a all until them play a all. Build up a cup and get some in your phone. Circle every small business with their tone. Selling meat with eggs or just tray alone. Part of me the money make money alone. But bigger than me, 1K alone. Use bills by accessories, but not express. Every girl and them granny get touched. Badness, outdated, nothing up is finance. Pound them in me, but yeah, me simply have. I try multiply, but the liquor with me have. Walk and sell clothes if me can't find a job. Me used to have a matic in my one strap back. Short confiscate and laptop gap. Only straight me shots and I got blocked. And then me realize I was not that in a fold. I feel like I want some gold. Yeah. She go take a loan out. To put a vaccine on the road now. Me self me a hope. Yeah. Big man me supposed to. Yeah. So can't leave me left alone, bro. Run up the just road, no. Stop this thing. Bush that preach no man. Still not apologize to preacher man. Shatters turn in your gun for your piece of land. Make Jamaica get green and beat up and Jack still 2 years so me pre-tap and garrison for the avenues we don't need no damn. If every backyard door open half a beat no man. You see banana, sheet and cheese. Listen more darkness. Learn about Forex. Bitcoins up next. A world that's cashless. Where money stop next. Means more jobless.
Welcome back to the Talk Up Youth Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth here on Nationwide 90 FM. And if you are just joining us, you would have missed quite an insightful conversation. So we've been joined in studio on telephone by Brian Royce, who is the campaign manager for the Repair campaign, and Sharon Roper, who is one of the Repair advocates. Now I think we might have lost Sharon because we were having the conversation in a particular way. But Brian is still with us, and there are a couple of things that we wanted to touch on from as a carryover from the previous part of the conversation about how some of the harms of colonialism are still with us in present day. I think we're getting Sharon back, but we'll continue to have the conversation in the meantime. So Brian and I were just talking about the fact that why the Repair campaign and the 10-point reparation plan are so all-encompassing is because the harms of colonialism are all-encompassing. It's pervasive, so far-reaching throughout all of who we are and how we exist as people who are descended from that kind of system. So, Brian, you were sharing with me some of the ways that happens, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, where do we even begin, right? We were talking about within education and the way that the educational system creates people who see themselves a certain way. We were talking about healthcare. I think that's something that we haven't yet touched on in this one, which is that, did you know that Jamaica, Barbados are the amputation capitals of the world because of the rates of diabetes, which is itself a legacy of the poor diets during chattel enslavement, where, I mean, think about it. For centuries, what were we growing and feeding people? Sugarcane, diets high in sugar, high in salt, have contributed over generations upon generations contributed to high rates of diabetes and hypertension. And anybody who is listening right now, do you know somebody, at least one person in your family who has diabetes or has hypertension?
And so then if I'm understanding you, and I'm imagining research out there about it, about this whole reason why certain populations, black people, people who are descended from people who were enslaved, let's say it that way, are in the literature as being predisposed to a lot of these non-communicable diseases.
Predisposed because of the way that it has literally been baked into DNA, right? This is an emerging science, epigenetics, and how our DNA gets expressed in certain environments. And we found, I don't have the exact research on the top of my head, but essentially the idea that medical treatments for those suffering with diabetes, for example, are less effective on the descendants of those who have been enslaved because of the way that epigenetics fights against that and makes us predisposed to some of these non-communicable diseases.
All right, so that's healthcare, but then let's look at even education. Some of the policies that come out of our education system, like the one that I tend to talk about a lot.
The hair.
Yeah, that dress and grooming policy. Jamaica has come a far way. Let me say that. We've come a far way in terms of how we treat with, how we see ourselves, and what we talk about is acceptable in our society and that kind of a thing. But then there are ways in which the sort of values, if you will, and a certain kind of image of who is regarded as acceptable and
professional even.
Right. A lot of it is still very
colonial and
Eurocentric and that kind of a thing. So it is just mind-blowing how even centuries after colonialism has ended, and I will be one of those persons who will argue that it has not ended, it has just been remade into more politically...
a more palatable version of...
Yeah. And then even we were also talking about how things in the tourism industry are sometimes a part of that and how that has environmental impacts. So for example, this whole thing where we clear mangroves to build resorts.
Tourist complexes, right.
Right. And then when you look at how that has implications for how workers are treated in those spaces in some instances, and then our climate resilience or lack thereof because of this kind of thing, it's just mind-blowing.
Yes,
it's hard to put into words without being overly confrontational. But then there's that part of the conversation that we were having about how sometimes we tend to sanitize the conversation in certain spaces to not make people uncomfortable. And we're saying that in terms of talking about reparations, it's sometimes essential to have that discomfort, to twist the knife in the wound, for lack of a better term, so that people realize that, okay, this is something that's a pressing issue and that something has to be done.
Look, the truth is uncomfortable, but the truth cannot be dismissed any longer than it already has been, right? So to a large extent, this conversation is going to require us sitting with and learning how to sit with uncomfortable feelings, not only internally, but even externally, as we bring this conversation to those who benefited from this, who think, oh, well, I didn't own enslaved people. Why do I have to care about this? The fact is that there is some level of discomfort that is on both sides.
Right.
But we really need to learn how to treat with that level of discomfort and have these conversations, because ultimately it's going to be for the betterment of both of us here in the Caribbean and the relationship between the Caribbean and European countries. It's in their interest to engage with the Caribbean if there is to be any hope of a long-term relationship between on an international basis, but also on an internal basis within ourselves, right?
And I think that's one of the best framings of it that I have ever heard in my looking across things about colonialism and reparations. There's at both levels that it has to function at, the individual level as well as the system level. Because then and this is something that I talk about all the while when we talk about issues of social justice and that kind of a thing, if we have individuals who are changing what they individually do, but the system isn't changing, then it's going to fall apart. And then the converse is also true. If we have the system changing, but then people don't realize what they need to do individually, then it falls apart again. So it needs to happen simultaneously.
Absolutely.
At both locations.
And that is why we're here, Stephen, because the whole point is that, look, this conversation on the international level is undeniable. It is not going away, and we demand a response. Therefore, our people in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, need to be aware and educated about this, so that, as you say, when structurally and systemically that change takes place, we need to be ready to be able to accept that and participate in the change that is required on an internal level.
And so, again, like you're saying, it sets the perfect stage for what is happening with the repair campaign and the 10-point plan for CARICOM and all of that. And so it helps us to see how it plays out in terms of actionable movement. Yeah. So at the system level, rather, the signing in solidarity puts the pressure on those who need to make the tangible changes. But then there are things that we can do at the individual level. Sharon said it earlier. Educate ourselves so that when we're having the conversations, we can talk about these things in real and present ways, and then we can inform more people about what is happening, because it's not going to be a situation where we get change, where we get that sort of groundswell that has the impact if we ourselves aren't educated about what it is that we're feeling and what we need to do about it.
Yep, absolutely. I have a really simple framework that I like to tell people in terms of how you can get activated on this.
All right.
Step 1, educate yourself, right? How do you do that? The internet. The internet is so accessible to everybody, and the repaircampaign.org has done an amazing job, if I may say so myself, of trying to compile a hub of information about why repair matters, what's happening with the present movement. And so, number 1, after you educate yourself as to why repair matters and what reparations means, number 2 is go and sign in solidarity. Have you signed yet? What are you waiting for? This movement is coming, and we need a critical mass of people on the ground saying we support reparations. And if you support reparations, because why wouldn't you? It means betterment for all of us here in Jamaica and across the Caribbean, and a repaired relationship internally and externally with other countries. Go and sign in solidarity with reparations and make your voice heard. And number 3, once you have educated and signed in solidarity, step number 3 is take the conversation to your people. Go and have this, share the knowledge that you have gained. Don't just sit on it, but tell your friends, tell your mother, tell your granny, tell your auntie, why did you know that? Fill in the blanks. And did you know that reparation means that this benefit is coming to us in the Caribbean? That's why I need you now. Step 3 is to basically share this with people. Now I need you to educate and to sign in solidarity, so that each one teach one, so that the call goes far and wide, and it takes on legs of its own until the point where next year we look back and we have 1 million people across Jamaica and the Caribbean saying, or more, let's shoot for more than that, right?
Why not?
Because we all need this sense of internal self-repair in order to advocate on the international scene for the systemic repair. And we need as many people in support as possible.
And as I'm listening to you, Brian, there's this African philosophy. I don't remember which ones of the countries it comes from, but this concept of Ubuntu, I am because we are. And if it is that I am not sharing what it is with the people that I should be in community with, people who are affected by this thing, then again, the system falls apart.
Yeah.
So as Brian is saying, that nice framework, educate yourself, then you go and sign in solidarity, then you share with other people, and then you get them to educate and sign in solidarity. The final part that I would like to add to your framework is that if you are a part of any sort of organization that does work around this kind of social justice, look for ways you can collaborate with each other, because then a lot of times we have organizations that are in the same shared space, if you want to call it that are doing work in their own individual
bubbles.
But then the work is so disconnected. So like we're saying, with individual people, if individual people come together, then the voice and the push is stronger. Individual organizations can then come together. So if you are an organization that is doing work around reparatory justice or any kind of social justice issues that pops up in terms of how colonialism needs to be repaired, then here is an organization that you can collaborate with. That's a tricky word for me. Collaborate with the Repair Campaign, and they are doing wonderful work. So
thank you.
The ways that you can reach out to the Repair Campaign is through their social media. They're on Instagram, they're on Twitter, they're on TikTok. Are you guys on Facebook?
Facebook, we're on LinkedIn.
Right.
We have a newsletter that goes out every month that talks about why this matters.
So
That's
if you want to
Repair
be on the
Campaign
mailing list-
everywhere.
Right. And there's something that I'm realizing is it's transgenerational. So in
Oh,
as
yeah.
much as we're talking to young people at Talk Up Youth, you said Facebook and the demographic that uses Facebook. But what I'm making the point of is that it's transgenerational. It's not just something that older people should be thinking about or just younger people should be thinking about. It affects every single one of us. And so that is important for us to have those conversations along those lines. So Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, there's a mailing list with the newsletter.
Mhm.
And then the Repair Campaign has done lovely work in terms of collecting resources on their website that you can use as a part of your self-education and the education of the people in your spheres of influence. And the website is therepaircampaign.org. And as you're educating yourself, there's a page on the website that you can sign in solidarity with the Repair Campaign. And all it requires is for you to affirm your position that you are standing in solidarity with the call for reparations, and you affix your signature for the campaign. The Repair Campaign is trying to amass, I believe it's 1 million signatures by when?
Yeah, we're aiming for 100,000 signatures this year.
Okay.
With a view to growing even beyond this year, right?
Right.
And what we're asking is that by signing in solidarity, what you're essentially doing is you are lending your voice, and you will significantly strengthen the call that comes from the leadership of the CARICOM Reparations Commission in going to the former colonial countries, the UK, others who benefited in Europe, right? You will significantly strengthen their call for a meaningful conversation around the need for repair and what that looks like. This is not a political petition. It's not. It's not a legal call that we're saying, but we are asking you to show your support so that when the delegates and the representatives on behalf of CARICOM open these meaningful conversations, they can say, "We are 1 million strong. This call is undeniable."
Right. And as Bernie's saying, there's strength in numbers. And so if it is that you are interested, you go on, you sign in solidarity. Because when we look at reparations, the overhangs of colonialism and chattel slavery and everything that came with the enslavement and the stealing of African peoples from their countries. It's not something, as we've been saying in this conversation, that touches just a single aspect of our life. It touches every single aspect of our lives. It touches every single individual. And so that is why we need every single person to come on and sign in solidarity, as well as to become a part of the Repair Campaign yourself, to push the message that this is something that's not going away. It's not something that we're ever going to forget. It's not something that we're going to sweep under the rug. It's something that reparations are due, and we need the reparations to flow now.
Can I make a special call out to the youths then? Talk up youth, right? Because look, you mentioned that this is far-reaching and touching multiple generations. Absolutely. But I want to make a special appeal to anybody, any young person that is listening right now, because think about the fact that this movement is going to be the greatest movement of the 21st century. And who is going to inherit the 21st century? It's us. Yep. Right? Our young people are the ones that are going to benefit from reparations. And it's your children also that will continue to benefit from reparations. This is a future-looking movement. As much as we want to talk about the history and what happened here, I want to draw from the wisdom of another Ghanaian term. You mentioned Ubuntu earlier. I want to talk about Sankofa. Have you heard about Sankofa before?
Back and get it.
You have to go back and get. Sankofa comes from the Akan region, which says, in terms of wisdom, we need to look back in order to look forward. And that's why I want to appeal to the youth, because this movement is not getting hung up on the past, right? Not on what happened then, can we just move on? But rather, can we reflect on the atrocities and also the resistance and resilience that we've gained from that as we chart, as we make sense of that in the present, and then look forward to repairing that for generations to come. So if you're a young person listening to this, I would encourage you greatly to tune into your own history and figure out how that informs where you want to go as a Jamaican. What kind of a Caribbean do you want to build for yourself and for your children? And if this is something that resonates with you, please reach out to us at the Repair Campaign, at Repair Campaign on all social media, and sign in solidarity.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us and for extending the conversation into another segment. This is the Talk Up Youth radio show, the voice of the Jamaican youth, and you are listening to us live on Nationwide 90 FM. We're going to be taking a break right now. Talk Up Youth, Masefi. Talk Up Youth. We'll be right back.
Remember, nothing lasts forever. The simple things are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings, your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings. You better notice your blessings. The simple things, them are your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings, your blessings. Simple things, them are your blessings. You better notice your blessings. Simple things, oh, the simple things. Health and strength, oh, the simple things. Let me tell you about the simple things.
Need to make a change to your title or need a title? GeoLand Title Limited. They do lost title application, add and remove names from titles, wills, estates. First-time registration land surveys also included. Affordable rates and flexible payment options. NLA adjudication and land titling waivers also available. They have 8 locations island-wide. Call 876-754-6436 or visit their website at geolandonline.com. GeoLand Title Limited. Secure your land, secure your title.
Korean solid surface, so versatile and beautiful. It's non-porous, no sealing necessary, renewable and repairable, so easy to clean and maintain, and can be thermoformed into any shape. Choose Korean, the #1 solid surface in the world, when you want beauty and the best for your countertop. Visit Home International Limited, located at 104 Constance Ring Road. Telephone 755-1970 or 276-6448.
In Jamaica, your rights are protected by our Constitution. From the right to education to freedom of expression, every citizen deserves respect and dignity. But remember, with rights come responsibilities. Let's uplift and respect each other and stand against injustice. Together, we can make Jamaica a better place for ourselves and future generations. Know your rights. Embrace your responsibilities. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Are you ready for something mega? Spend $6,500 or more before GCT, drop your entry in the box and you can win a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. It's the Mega Wheels Tour promotion, April 5th to September 28th. Second prize, a $50,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Third prize, a $30,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Brought to you by Hyundai, Restaurant, Heineken, True Milk, Rex, Walker's Wood, Downing, CPJ Daiquiri, and Carriage's Juice Concentrate. Only at Megamart, locations island-wide. Megamart, best value by far. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
What? Is this real? Hey, Greg, come look at this. Oh my, it's happening. Mr. Daniels, the numbers keep getting bigger and bigger.
Sir, the clicks are off the charts. Hello, sales? What's the emergency? 9,000 clicks in one day? 3,000 order? So how much we have left? What? I'll soon call you back. Mr. Nakamoto, it's Danny from Jamaica. I need 5,000 of the big ones. We're back in business.
Yes, sir.
Amplify your brand. Let Nationwide 90 FM assist you in tapping into a captivated audience across our social media platforms. For more information, contact us at 876-630-1210 or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Businesses, companies, and entrepreneurs, let's supercharge your brand.
Everything loud and wicked every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. with Outside with Pepita. Loan vibes, loan laughs, and loan entertainment. Come on the road with it. Cause when we say Outside with Pepita, we're there all over Jamaica. Anyway, check them out. We're there. We're in the business. Stay tuned in for prizes, surprises, giveaways, guest artists, and enough more. But hold on there. Don't forget to big up my DJ. DJ Jerome, the shell boss, I'm gonna make it bust to pew pew with the baddest, and latest tune. So look out for Outside with Pepita. We might be coming to a town near you. You heard it here first. Outside Outside with Pepita, Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. Jamaica, lock it in and don't miss a thing.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we celebrate fathers on June 13 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. The Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, in association with the Bureau of Gender Affairs, will celebrate Father's Day 2025 under the theme, The Power of Presence. Fathers who make a difference. Hashtag Daddy is Home. Activities begin with a spa day on June 11 at the Ministry's Roof Terrace with Outstanding Fathers Award recipients and Ministry staff members who are fathers receiving pampering, refreshments and games under the theme Caring for the Caring Dad. The grand celebration is set for June 13 with the Outstanding Fathers Award ceremony where 60 exemplary fathers will be honored at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online June 13 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Those oldies but goodies reminds me of you.
This is to advise that on Sunday, June 8, 2025, the Mayor's Parlor will begin at 12:30 p.m. We do apologize for any inconvenience caused.
Join Cliff Hughes Online on Tuesday, June 17, 2025 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. live from the Jamaica Conference Center, Port Royal Street, downtown Kingston. The employment of over 10,000 youth in a bid to enhance the services offered by the local government sector will be the prime focus of the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development's Youth Summer Employment Program, YSEP. Hear highlights on the benefits, purpose, and structure of YSEP from special guest speaker, Prime Minister Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Honest, and Portfolio Minister, the Honorable Desmond McKenzie. That's a live broadcast of Cliff Hughes Online, Tuesday, June 17, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. live from the Jamaica Conference Center, Port Royal Street, downtown Kingston. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
Education is the key for betterment in this modern time, Education is the key for betterment. Never waste your time, don't you waste your time. Bless and love. This is Warrior King. It's all about talk up youth, Cause the youth them are the future. Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Keep in tune, don't move the dial. Rastafari. Reggae music rocking the nation. Good vibration.
Whoa. This life, I tell you nothing no easy about it. But for real, me won't quit, no. You know. And every day me get up and feeling the same. No. Some days me feel dread. And I know a little bit of people that live by my name. I go through. It's hard when I put it on my bread. Cause no man is perfect, and we all know, and we all have days of feeling low, oh, I have faith that I hold on to, working hard to see that tomorrow, I better tomorrow,
hope it is there. Yeah. We only got one life, so me not living a fair. Living in the past won't take you nowhere. It's a new day, the sky is clear. Move on, I've been there. Cause no man is perfect, and we all know. And we all have days of feeling low. But I have faith that I hold on to. Working hard to see that tomorrow, a better tomorrow, a better tomorrow, a better tomorrow, a better tomorrow. So never stop trying, no. Though some days we feel true. And a little bit of people talk bad from when they up. But they never lose sight of me name. A better tomorrow, a better tomorrow, a better tomorrow. A better tomorrow. You don't know it's Macroney, you see me? I represent for Talk Up Youth. Talk Up Youth, know your word. Like a rocket, no time now for birds.
Yeah, man, you don't know, this is Naomi Cowan representing for Talk Up Youth. This on every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Talk Up Youth, me say Talk Up Youth, yeah. You have to stand for your rights now. Now is the time. Tell the people.
So come to know these youths and show these youths. Talk up yourself, the youths to know them roots. Nurture them, protect and love and hear these youths. Use to make them know I love we show these youths.
Save the youth, I kill the youth, I build we come to build the youth. I trick and fool and kill the youth, I build we come to build the youth. Empower and skill the youth, I build we come to build the youth. Youth in action, Jamaica, we are build the youth. Come youth in Jamaica.
You will make a way. Always made a way, God. Oh God, oh God. Some days high, some days low, but I will not give up. No, I won't let go. I know God will make a way for me.
welcome back to the Talk Up Youth Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth on Nationwide 90 FM. We have been having an interesting discussion about reparations, but we are going to change tracks right now. So we're going to be bringing you the highlights of the third staging of the Strike Star Entertainment Screenwriters Workshop. Talk Up Youth was on location and had exclusive interviews with CEO Ricky Lee and American producer and writer Benny Boom, as well as Marvin Pitt and many others. So we are going to go to that right now. If you're on YouTube, you might see some familiar faces, but you can listen online as well.
Yes.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. This is part of the Talk Up Youth Radio Show. We're here at the Edna Manley College and we're at the third Screenwriters Workshop put on by Strike Star Entertainment. And of course, I have standing right beside me an awesome gentleman, well known. We have Sir Benny. Ooh.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How are you doing?
Good. You good?
Right. Yes. From our conversation, I've gotten to understand that you've been in this industry for a number of years, approximately 25.
Well, I've been directing 25. I've been in the industry 31 years.
31 years.
Yeah. It sounds crazy for me to even say it.
Yes. Well, what has that been like for you? In hindsight, looking back when you started and when you entered into the industry, and where you are now, what are some of your takeaways from it?
I mean, I think that you have to adapt to change.
Yeah.
I think I spoke about that when it went from film to digital.
Right.
was one big thing. From having to have big cameras to commercial cameras. The iPhone is now available if you want to go and just shoot something.
Right.
So that's one thing I've learned. The other thing is just sort of some business things that you learn along the way in any industry that you're in. You're going to run into, I would say, conflicts, whether it be business or creative and those types of things. Is really how you navigate that, right?
Yeah.
And so I think each lesson or each situation teaches you a lesson for the next situation to come, and you got to learn from it.
Right. And here in Jamaica, we're maximizing a lot on the creative industry and the young creatives that we have. And coming out of this workshop, we also want more young persons to see film and producing as a viable option.
Yeah.
How can we encourage younger persons now to get into this?
Well, I think one thing that would be great is if segments of these next 2 days are edited up and available online, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, and all these other social media platforms.
Right.
And specifically find someone that's specific for kids or teenagers and the youth, because oftentimes, certain generations, in my generation, I'm thinking, the kids are going to like this. They're going to do, and they won't. Right. So you go and you find yourself like the brother here holding the camera, somebody that's 20 years old, and he'll look at it and say, we should chop it up like this. 5 minutes is too long. Let's make it a minute. Keep only this part of it so that, when the youth see it, they do it. Put a little music behind it. That kind of thing to bring them into it, right? Because they might be interested in it, but there may be things to keep them away. Oh, I don't want to hear someone talk that long, or it might be over my head, or I don't understand.
So learning the techniques.
Yeah, learning the techniques to market it directly to them.
Okay. And what would you say are some of your takeaway points of persons who definitely know that this is the area that they want to be in, but they don't have the resources to start?
I would say if anything that somebody wants, you try hard enough, you can get it or get to it.
Yeah.
If you want to be a chef, but you don't have, your kitchen is terrible. What do? You might go to a restaurant and work in the kitchen. So that's the kind of thing. You find the industry that you want to be in, you gravitate to it. You're not going to be at level 10 immediately. You're at 1. Right, so you go from 1 to 10
stages,
and then once 10, you go to 11. Well, 11 is actually the lowest rung on the way to 20. So you always find yourself like this until you get to 100 or get to where you want to be. Right, so be able to understand that just because you're at a certain level in one area, if you want to break through and get to the next, that just means you're on the lower level, the lower part of that level.
Yeah. Definitely. I want to say thank you for speaking with us. Quickly, what's next for you?
Oh man, what I got going? There's a few films in the pipeline.
Okay.
I'm going to be writing Ricky Lee's story, And we're going to be writing Ricky Lee's story along with Story TV.
Love that. Yes.
Shooting it here in Jamaica and hopefully in part of New York, Philadelphia, in the U.S. somewhere for the U.S. portion. And that's that's a few other things happening, but that's the big thing.
So we'll be watching because we know that you're going to be doing great things.
Yeah, thank you,
and
man.
you continue to inspire us. And thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate
Yes,
it.
Thank you, man.
We're on the campus here at Edna Manley College. We're at the third staging of the Writers Workshop put on by Strike Star Entertainment. And I'm standing beside another great man in the industry.
Wow.
Yes, definitely, because you are great.
Wow.
We are standing and talking with Sir Marvin Peart. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm
Nice
doing
to
good.
meet you.
I'm doing good. I was listening to you earlier on in the session as you were sharing and giving the insights. One of the things that you said was the fact that producing film is hard work.
Yes.
Right. How long have you been in the industry?
Since 2006.
2006. Wow.
Yeah.
And how would you measure hard work? In your opinion?
Because the process of making a movie is at the end is not a very difficult process. It's the financing of the process and keeping everybody in the same camp. Because when you're making a major motion picture and you're dealing with Hollywood stars, everyone has a schedule.
Yes.
So if you don't lock a schedule, lock the finance, what allows you to start and finish, and things begin to move, then you begin to lose people, director, actors, executive producers, because they go off and do other things because you're in the middle of still trying to raise money while still trying to keep your. So it's just kind of wrangling kittens. Once you get a kitten in and one jumps out, you got to bring the other one back, and then you bring them back, the other one doesn't jump in. So it's difficult in that sense.
Right.
So it makes it difficult.
And definitely, like having a team around you, because based on what I heard you just said, a team in place will help that you can focus on what you need to focus on and let the others deal with like the raising of the financial support and so on. There's something that you said from the session, from the presentation about using the tools that you have. A lot of persons might think that they can't start and get into the industry because they don't have the high-tech equipment and all of that.
Right.
You mentioned like using your phone, iPhone or something like that.
Right.
How important is it to use the tools at your disposal to get started?
I mean, very important. I mean, listen, we're doing this interview right now.
Right.
And you have your cameraman.
Yes.
You have your microphone man. You have your producer here. You have multiple cameras. If we camera guy
Different
move this
angles.
way, and then
Right.
later you edit it, it looks like shoot. So you're doing it now, and that's just an example of it because technology has created a way in which it allows you to take your creativity and get it out.
Right.
And then when someone is looking at it, they don't know if this is one camera or 5 cameras, depending on how you edit it.
Right.
They don't know if there's
Angles.
a boom mic, a sound man, adjusting levels, etc.
Right.
But once you look at it and you see the creativity that went into passion, I'm raised with passion. I wake up with passion. I do nothing half-ass, as they say.
Yes.
Everything is full throttle, pedal to the middle.
Yes, and that's what we need. That's what we need. The last thing I want to perhaps ask you, Marvin, would you encourage young persons to research the different jobs that are available in the industry to know where their niche area might be?
I would encourage someone to do that, but I would take a step further and encourage someone, as Benny mentioned earlier, he didn't realize that intern meant you didn't get paid. Sometimes there's a basic economic reality to needing to make money because everyone has to eat and clothe themselves. But if you have the opportunity to intern somewhere, find a set, because everyone is always looking for free help. Find yourself onto a set and then go to different departments and then figure out, wow, I really like this or I really like that.
Right.
And once you've read about it and you're actually experiencing it, boots on the ground, then you begin to connect those dots, and then you realize you are in the right place.
Yes. And so whether it's directing, writing, producing, you name it, And the sky is the limit, as they say.
Yes.
Right. So not to limit yourselves in that regard. I want to say thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Coming to share and report into the prospective and potential screenwriters. We really appreciate that. And if you could just wrap up and say, what's next for you? I mean, you have accomplished so much already. What's next for you?
Well, I'm prioritizing what's hot on my plate is the sequel to our movie released in 2020 called The War with Grandpa that starred Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, Uma Thurman.
Yes.
We're looking to make the world War with Grandpa and bring all our friends back from the first movie to do it again.
Yes, so getting a little of what happened at this at the workshop, the screenwriters workshop earlier on this week, Stephen, and very phenomenal because we see right here in our country, we are launching more into this, helping young people and adults alike to develop their love and their passion, not only for writing, but also producing, filmmaking in Jamaica. I know one of the partners and supporters of this was the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Earlier on Monday that we had the launch for the event and was staged at Edna. And as I said, a number of international persons who were here, persons who were involved in like Marvel movies, writing comics, and stuff like that. So that's very phenomenal for us here in Jamaica to have this kind of exposure. And certainly for me, being in production, it was good being there and conducting the interview. And so before we close out the show, I want to hear a few words from Ricky Lee, who is the CEO of Strike Star Entertainment. I had a chance to talk to him as well.
One of the important about this kind of setting and this workshop that we're at is to speak to one of the visionaries, and I'm standing beside the great Sir Ricky Lee, who is a part of this wonderful function forum that we have here, Strike Star Entertainment. And we want to talk about just the vision behind what's taking place right here in Jamaica over these past few days.
Well, the vision is really giving back to the young mind, others who want to learn about the business. As you can see, with the platform is very open, giving people a chance to touch hand with celebrities who've been doing it forever, and also allowing them to understand, say, you don't have to be afraid to do the things that you want to do, as Cecil would say.
Yes.
Do what you need to do to get where you want to be, instead of getting doubts in your mind. You know what I mean? So I bring this platform here to give back to everyone who want to learn, want to grow, and build something for themselves, their legacy, family. You know what I mean? Their dream. But I was when we started this with Paul, it was like a platform to everything that you see happening here, right? Organically. This is how we really plan it. You know what I mean? Steve was a very important part of it because Steve traveled the journey with me through everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So so this vision is a team effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But my goal is to continue, make sure it works.
Yeah, so a few words there from Ricky Lee, CEO of Strike Star Entertainment. And as I said, it's the third staging, so they're going to get bigger and better. And we were able to talk to one of the attendees, and she is an upcoming filmmaker. And so for her, she was glad to be in that kind of a space, and that's the thing, So it was really good. So that's really the what we wanted to share with you today. And if you are interested in being a part and learning, you can also reach out to them on Instagram as well, Strike Star Entertainment. So, Stephen, your takeaways for the day.
My takeaway for the day, the biggest one is that reparations is something that is all-encompassing, because colonialism was something that was all-encompassing, and it's something that each and every single one of us can get involved in, from whatever location that we're at, in whatever spheres of influence we're in, and that's it for me. And I love to see the screenwriters workshop because it's putting the creative industry right in the forefront of people's eye as a viable career option, because a lot of people don't see it as that. And so to see that there's this kind of thing happening, this kind of thrust, does it for me.
Right, definitely. And so we need to ask for more reparation for the creative industry.
That's something you're on right there.
Definitely. But you know what we're on is the clock, and we're out of time for today. But I want to say thank you so much to our engineer, very hardworking over there, and I'm David McNish. Want to say bless up for that. Of course, our executive producer Empress Golden, the entire Nationwide family who allows us to be here each and every Saturday, and you know me doubling up. As per usual. And of course, Stephen. It's always good to see Stephen and have him here.
Always good to be here.
All right. So until next week, when we will do it all over again and we'll have our part 2 conversation on the reparation. This has been the Talk Up Your Radio Show, the voice of the Jamaican youth. Continue to have a wonderful Saturday and a great weekend. We're now making way for the Design Studio with Karen Booker. Talk Up Youth, Mr. F.A.
Talk Up Youth.
See you next week.
Hear the walls of Jericho.